If you're looking for a really nice kit with heaps of detail, then this is a perfect kit. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns, and I'm going to be taking a closer look at the new NuNu Lancia Delta S4 rally car kit. Now, NuNu is a reasonably new company. They're associated in a way with BMAX, so somehow they're both based in Macau, and a lot of the tooling, I believe, is made by Aoshima of Japan. So that should result in a very clean kit, but we'll find out. We'll have a closer look at this right now. So let's pop this down here. So this is from the 86 San Remo Rally. Back in the heyday of Group B rally cars. Actually, I'll put that down. It's not standing up. Alright, let's start looking at some of the bits inside. Alright, so I've got some clear parts. Now, clear parts are quite indicative of a good kit to begin with, because you can see how transparent and how pristine they are. So that means the tooling has been cut very well, and it's been polished extremely well, as certain. So let's just move that across here, and we'll look at each bag at a time. Okay, so this one here has the upper roll cage. We've got other parts of the roll cage here with, this appears to be rear shock. We've got the exhaust system, steering hubs, rear hubs. And we'll flip this over. We've got bits of the engine. So we've got the intake system. We've got the suspension arms, disc brakes with the calipers. We've got the intercooler and the oil cooler, sides of the engine, a huge turbo right there. Your steering wheel, oil filter, and steering column. And you've got some windshield wipers there. Alright, this section here has got some of the more interesting parts. So you see how we've got 3 parts to the bodywork. So that's because of all the additional detail that's inside. So the rear hatch here, these were a mid-rear engine car. So the engine sat at the back. So the rear hatch comes off to view all of that. You've got the main bodywork in the center here for the cockpit. And then you've got the bonnet section here that will have the spare tyre and such inside. So you can see just how clean some of the moulding is. You've got your open air vents there. Let's just spin this over. So on here you've got a few of the extra bits. You've got some light mouldings, some bodywork. You've got the C pillars here, and some other bodywork at the back there. And they're the hatches for your air intakes on the roof. Okay, now got some chrome parts. They're quite interesting. These are some of the rims for the wheels. Then underneath you can see these are the reflectors for the night lights. So for the night stage, they had quite a few different bright floodlights, just so you can see where they're going. And you've got the mirror inserts there for the rear vision mirrors. Okay, so over here we've got the racing seats. We've got the air intakes. You've got the diff. You've got the sides of the roll cage, which is up against the doors. And then there's some finer bits and pieces here. You've got the front shocks, drive shafts. Then on this side, you've got the roll cage for the rear of the engine deck. You've got the dashboard right here with all the details for your dials and navigation equipment. Sunshade for the dashboard. There's a gearbox right here. You've got a radiator and various other parts, and there's your engine blocks right there. Over here we've got the tub for the inside of the cockpit. So that's the front end here, that's the back. It's solid here because the engine just sits at the back. There'll be some glass there, 2 seats there, with the dashboard. And over here, so you've got the aerial here for the radio, and then this is the bottom of the chassis. Center's all clear because actually on the clear parts, which I'll show you in a sec, you can leave that clear so you can see all the detail for the 4-wheel drive system, or you can paint that and make it more original. So from there you can also see the suspension, the upper arms of the suspension. Okay. Now getting into the wheels, got the wheels here, really nice dish type with a fine outer venting. Super fine detail. You got the wheel nuts there as well. Over here you can see the spare, so the spare doesn't have the wheel nuts in it. And then these discs actually go over the wheels, and these were used for directing additional air into the disc brakes to keep them cool. And that's because this is a tarmac stage car, so being tarmac, you can see that the tyres are all slicks. So in here you see the poly caps as well, so these for holding on the wheels onto the axle so they can rotate. And then there's also some mesh here for the grills on the front end. Okay, and so here we've got these clear part here. So you've got the rear windscreen which separates the engine from the driver and the navigator. And then you've got this clear section which goes on the bottom of the chassis, so you can see the center drive shaft and some of the gearbox detail. But you can always paint that as well if you want an original. And then these are all the lenses for the main headlights and also the night light system. And you've got the rear lights there as well. Okay, so they're all the plastic bits, and now we get into quite a few sheets of decals. So you've got your main, I guess, sponsorship is what I'm looking for. So sponsorship decals here. You've got some printed seat belts. You've got the larger livery on the bigger sheet here, and then underneath you've got all the black trim for around the windows. And then there's also some Pirelli stickers here for the tyres, the side of the tyres. Okay, and then we get into the manual. So the manual's got a very Hasegawa Aoshima feel to it. So you've got the full listing of paints here, your paint guide, and then the assembly is starting with the engine. So you've got the engine block going together with the turbos and the exhausts. You've got the intakes coming through here. Got your gearbox going onto the bottom of the chassis. Engine gets mounted, and then they start putting together the roll cage. Rear suspension is done here, and then you get into the rear windscreen, roll bar over the engine, and then front end suspension going into the chassis. You've got the radiator going into the front, steering tie rods, and then you're doing the interior cockpit, steering wheel, and then you've got all the paraphernalia that goes inside. You've got your extinguisher and such, and then you have your bucket racing seats. So these are the decals going in as the seat belts, and then they go in, and then you get the sides of the door panels. Wheels are attached, and then here this is the painting of the interior of those the hatch components and the front end. And then finally here we have all the final glass going in and the C pillars, and then you got your mirrors, your lights, and then that's all the final assembly. And then this is indicating of where all the decals are going, and the parts listing there, so you know where all the parts are. So as you can see from there, that's a very comprehensive kit, quite complicated for an advanced builder, but if you want to take it even further, you can get this detail up set. So let's just pop that here. So you'll see included, it's got a small machined antenna mount and a fine wire antenna. It's got 3 sheets of stainless steel photo etching detail parts. So you've got little nuts. These are the mud flaps. There's seatbelt material here as well, which you may just be able to see here. It's fabric. And then over here you can see all the little seatbelt harness buckles. And then you've got some finer meshing for your radiators and also your front grille. So quite a lot of stuff in there. There's also a decal sheet in the bottom here. Let's see if I can move this across a bit. And you can see how this is the carbon Kevlar finish, which is on the back of the seat, and then also on the insides of some of the panels. So a very good kit already, but if you want to level it up, super detail it with some of this here, and then you have a super duper looking kit which has heaps of detail inside. So if you're looking for a really nice kit with heaps of detail, a lot of work and a bit of a challenge, then this is a perfect kit. So with NuNu, can't go wrong. This is one of their better kits in that it's got so much interior detail, engine detail as well. So hope you enjoyed having a closer look, and thanks for watching.